Tom Coons. I'm with the communications team at the Hawaii State Legislature. Well, I think it's fair to say that things have never seemed to move faster in these truly unprecedented times. So we thought we'd put some of our best state legislators to the test in a new segment we call the 2-minute drill. So I'm here today with State House Majority Leader Representative Della Belatti, and State Senate Leader Senator J. Kalani English, and State House Representative Gene Ward. So here's how it will work. I will read the question, call on one of you to get the ball rolling. Then you'll have 2 minutes as a group. Now, I don't want to point anybody out in this group, but there's no filibusters, all right? So try to share the time. We want lively conversation. So here is question number one. What song title would best describe this upcoming session? Representative Belatti.
I am a child of the 90s and the 2000s, so my song title would be Survivor by Destiny's Child, but I'm going to do a second one. Also from a colleague of mine, Money, Pink Floyd's Money.
That's a good one. How about you, Representative Ward?
I like hers, but I think mine match it. It's All About the Benjamins by Puff Daddy. And also A Second Bite at the Apple, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. We got to know when to tax and when not to tax the people. We got to know when to pass bills to give them a break, etc. So Kenny Rogers and Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy, Representative Ward. Okay, I didn't expect that. J. Kalani English. How about you, sir?
Well, two come to mind. The first one is Who Let the Dogs Out? And the second one is Talking Heads, Burning Down the House.
Oh my gosh. Why did you choose those?
Senator, who are the dogs? Wait, who are the dogs he's referring to?
Yeah, you go figure that out, Ward.
Oh, okay.
I got to say, I really believe that Representative Ward listens to Puff Daddy. Somehow that doesn't fit.
Hey, look, we are research and staff-driven offices. Even though you don't see me as a diverse individual, you have stereotyped me, Ms. Belatti.
You could ask him to hum a few tunes of that, a few bars of that.
We can do that.
What Puff Daddy looks like. What ethnicity is Puff? Oh, let's next. I think that's what we're supposed to do. Next.
Okay, next question. All right. Let's grade it. Let's grade Governor Ige's response to COVID. Representative Ward, you get to go first on this one.
This is a tough one, being that we just answered in the second segment. Look, we're on our way. We're doing better than others. I would give them a C for effort, but let me say this very, very clearly. We should have had a protocol with Josh Green as the head of this. We shouldn't have gone up and down and around. We had kind of a really bad organizational protocol in terms of political rivalry between.
Jump in right here. Come on, Rep Ward. I would.
Okay, there shouldn't be a Caldwell and a Green fighting over this issue. So you got a C for effort.
Hey guys, I give him very high grades. You know what? When I had Zoom meetings with Molokai and Lanai and Hana, the governor came on those meetings, answered questions directly from the people, followed up with that. So, I give him high grades. I mean, none of us have had to deal with this before, and it was all pandemonium. So how do you manage chaos? And I give the governor high grades because, you know what? We kept the numbers low for a long time. We were the first in the nation to do a whole bunch of things that others have followed. And, to talk to the people on Molokai, Lanai, and Hana directly, take their hard questions. And sometimes he said, wow, I don't know how, we didn't think about that. So high grades for the governor.
I'm going to go with the gentleman C, and I'm actually very comfortable with that as a former teacher, and I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of, exactly because of what Senator English said, which is no one's ever dealt with this. But I would also say, and I want to challenge Rep Ward a little bit, the problem is some of the communications within the governor's team is that it's internal. So you know what? I disagree. I don't know that Lieutenant Governor Green should have been put in charge of all the protocols. We see that some of the miscommunication is coming because everyone's talking. There needs to be
communication. It's leadership, my dear. It's leadership.
Should be doing it.
Leadership is the issue.
I think the people of Hawaii deserve an A, because A, for trying to listen and comply and do what they need to do, and we do have the best numbers in the state.
And you know what? I got to put in a word for the mayors, because the governor had to deal with 4 different counties, 4 different sets of circumstances, and in Maui County, I had to deal with 3 different inhabited islands. So it's complicated. So I
Thank you
think
for saying that, Kalani, because Frank Fozzie is the kind of leadership that we need to do
oh,
something
that
like
was
that.
last century.
I think we're going it
But
right.
the point
Next,
is, it's a
next.
leadership
Lord,
issue. It's
dating
not a
yourself. There you go
communication. It's a
again.
leadership issue. It's a leadership issue. Maybe he
Next.
gets a C for his attempt.
First buzzer.
Okay, I'm sorry, let's go to the next.
Next.
Okay. Senator English, you are up. Let it roll. Should gambling be legalized in Hawaii?
Well, I wouldn't bet on it. You know, the Hawaii has had a legalized gambling bill from the Legislative Assembly in the Kingdom of Hawaii. The first ones were introduced in the 1880s. Up every session since then. So it went through the Kingdom, the Provisional Government, the Territory, the Republic of Hawaii, the Territory, and the state. 5 governments, every legislative session, and it has never passed. So I wouldn't bet on it. I think that, you know, it's worth the debate now. We have to be very careful of the American Indians Gaming Act and how that impacts us here. But I'm open to the discussion. I've always voted no on these, but I wouldn't bet on it passing.
Hey, this is going to be a first. I'm going to defer to the Senate on this. I like that response.
Hey, guys, let's follow.
There's going to be a discussion, but we've seen the thousands already come out in opposition to the proposal by DHHL, so I wouldn't bet on it either.
And, you know,
Hey,
I have to
guys,
say, DHL did a good job of laying out what they want. And they addressed the big boogeyman in the room, which is the Native Americans Gaming Act, the federal law. So, you know, they're trying to dispel some of the myths, but I don't know if I actually believe that research. So, you know, kudos to them for putting together a good package.
It's not a myth. It's the science that those who can gamble, who can afford to gamble, do not gamble. Those who cannot afford to gamble are the ones who gamble. This is pushing on the people who don't have enough money to survive in the state of Hawaii. And to do that, the only thing I like about the DHHL program is it draws attention to our inadequacy to fund at the federal and the state level, when otherwise was 100 years ago, we promised the Hawaiians with 203,000 acres of land. We've got now 28,000 on the wait list, and we build like 100 to 200 houses a year. We got like 9,700, 9,800.
So like I said, I don't think we'll
it's embarrassing. So gambling gives it attention, but it's embarrassing the way we treated the Native Hawaiians.
Thank you.
Next, all right. Back to school. So a lot of mom and dads want to know this, Rep. Belatti. Should Hawaii students return to the classroom?
Yes, when we have the safety protocols in place, and yes, definitely when we have a large part of our population vaccinated. I will probably cry tears of joy when we start putting vaccination in the arms of children, because they're the ones who are asymptomatic. They can be spreaders, and I think once we get vaccinations more widespread, yes. I will also just put out there, though, that children have been going back to school from day one. So we have had teachers who have done a tremendous effort for those folks, those children who were back in school. And so we know that it's possible, and that we know that it can be done. But to get the mass amount of students back to school, the 180,000 students, is going to be a little bit more challenging. So we have to watch, wait, and see, and continue to work with all parties so that we have a safe environment.
Well said. We have to follow the science, however. The science says that it's one of the safest places for kids to be. The infection rate is most in the home. That's the difficulty. But the infection rate among the kids is nominal. But the whole point of getting back to school is to get them out of drugs, get them out of depression, get them out of suicide. There's a downside that is extremely being experienced. But here's the other issue. It's not just the vaccinations that Della mentions. It's we got to do testing. We got to get this again. It's the ocean.
There you go again, Ward. You know,
hey,
so
look at the science.
Students going back to school is important, but we have to be very aware of the fact that, you know, until we have vaccines out there, I'll give you a good example. In Hana, they went back to school for a few days. There was a false positive for one of the kids. They shut down the school. They followed the DOH metrics. They did everything that needed to be done, but it was a false positive. So you see, there's still a lot of dangers, and, you know, we have to protect the kids, the students, the parents. And these are the things that show it to us. So I think the DOH metrics are good. And until we can get everybody vaccinated, let's err on the side of safety.
But it's not vaccinations alone. You got to do testing. Chicago has got 72% of its students back because they are doing spitting on the testing like the ocean. No, you guys are missing the science. You're missing the science. Next.
Okay. Rep Ward, I guess you'll get a chance to start, so you get all your words in here. How did Hawaii do with mail-in voting?
I think we did an excellent job. If I can just cite what we do right in Hawaii, it's mail-in voting because we had the absentee ballot. I mean, for my district, 50 to 60% over the last probably 2 to 3 elections. And when someone jumps into it over a couple of weeks and they've got to do stuff, they don't really know what's going on. So we have actually a lesson to teach the mainland and some of these people who didn't have any signatures on their ballot, some people who didn't even actually have people who had signed up for a ballot. Let me summarize it this way. Mail-in ballot is the easiest thing to do poorly. We did it well, and we should give ourselves credit. We should be a teacher for the mainland.
Yeah, I think we did really well. I mean, and the numbers went very high. We had a lot of participation. A lot of people voted for the first time, which is a good indicator. Some of the downsides, I live in Hana, and the only in-person voting system was a 2-hour drive in Wailuku to get to the other side. So we can improve, but man, this system is here. It's here to stay, and I think people are going to use it, and that's reinvigorated our democracy.
We had challenges on Oahu with the Kapolei lines, and so we're going to have to take a look at that and fix that. I think all mail-in voting demonstrated that Hawaii is a leader here on elections. But again, like a senator said, there's always ways to improve, especially across the state.
I don't think it was a shortage of things. It was a shortage of leadership to know that, hey, my goodness, these many people are going to be called. They should have known that they need more than 2 places for 800,000 people. We have an island of 800,000 people. 2 places
Those
to go
community
vote.
leaders failed their people because they told them,
There you go.
do not go in, walk in on the last day to vote. Don't trust the mailing system. So Ward, you're right. Community leaders failed their people in a lot of ways. Those that told them, do not vote, mail in, walk in. That's where those lines came in. A lot of the churches did that, a lot of right-wing organizations, to be quite frank. So, hopefully next time they'll say, look, go ahead and do your mail-in voting. We won't have those long lines.
This is not the first time we've done it. We ran out of ballots so many times. You think that some of this stuff is not rocket science. Well, opening different
I don't
places.
see what running out of ballots has to do with the mail-in system.
It's called planning and leadership. It's called management.
Because they were mailed their ballots. You understand that, right?
It's a leadership issue.
Oh, yes, we failed. Your leaders failed.
I gotta agree. The other thing that I was really concerned about, and we're giving Tom a heartache, but you know what? Some of the protesting that was happening around the Kapolei Center probably was inappropriate because I think, there are some issues of being too close to the voting polls, a little bit of intimidation. So I think we have our work cut out for us in lots of ways. But next, Tom, let's keep going.
Okay.
Agreed.
Up in smoke, should marijuana be legalized in Hawaii?
Yes, it should. And I've been introducing the bills for probably 20 years or 15 years or so. But here's the reason. Like the end of Prohibition, when alcohol the last century was illegal, I'm saying legalize it, very tight controls on it, just like alcohol. And I don't think it'll be the big revenue stream that people think it will be, but it'll be part of that. So legalize with tight controls and tight regulation and taxation. It's not a free-for-all. We don't say alcohol is free and you can go out and drink anytime you want, go to work drunk, etc. Jacob, do you mind moving around so the light will come on? I have an automatic energy saving here. The light goes on without moving.
Well, I'll jump in here. I believe personally, it's coming. Full recreational is coming at some point, but we already have some degree of legalization of cannabis. We have medical cannabis, and so we need to protect our medical patients because they have long used cannabis for medical reasons. And then we did pass a decriminalization bill last session, and so I think we have to do this carefully with everything else going on. Will we have the capacity and the bandwidth? This is going to be something that's going to require a lot of attention by our AGs who are tied up in doing all kinds of things right now. So is it coming? Yes, but can we do it? Not sure we have the bandwidth.
A bad idea, and it's already legal. Legal in the sense that when we had the legalization of marijuana, the police said, hey, if you got 3 grams and we see you, we're not going to do anything to you. This has been going on all over the place, just like gambling. You got 7 gambling houses in Waianae already. So these things that we say we want to legalize, it's a quick fix to get money to say that we haven't got an economy that works. We're going to give money and we're going to give legalization. And look, here's my biggest worry. Some of you guys,
Finally, finally.
Senator, listen,
Thank
this is
you.
to you. Senator, you gotta listen to this. You guys in the Senate are gonna start decriminalizing felonies of meth, heroin,
No, we're not.
and every hard drug that exists.
Pull it back to
Next,
reality.
That is
So,
bad
there
policy.
you go. Come
Get
back to
away from
reality.
heroin, get away from meth.
That's-
But you guys are stepping
Okay.
into a really big
That's
piece of
not
doodle.
No, you're citing discredited 1980s reports. You know, that was so last century.
I'm saying
Next.
you guys are gonna make heroin and other things just the same way it made
not at all.
marijuana, and you're
Not
gonna
gonna
screw the
legalize
minds
any
up
of
of our
that.
youth, and you're gonna waste the youth of
Thank you for
Hawaii.
supporting the legalization of marijuana. We appreciate it, Ward.
Okay, this will be a much less controversial topic right here, so this will be easier. In a word, Rep. Belatti, we'll start with you. Good luck with this one. In a word, describe the last 4 years of this presidency with Donald Trump.
Exhausting. Just
Why
exhausting.
so? Why
You know,
so?
I think the chaos that's been created by his way of governing and what we saw on January 6th, it was just, that was just it for me. I think we are looking at fresh new leadership. I think we're looking at having national strategies rolled out on vaccination, testing, contact tracing. I'm looking forward to having a more calm, thoughtful presidency administration on board. You know, I know we have to reach out to the millions of voters who did vote for Trump, but I think some of them will have to agree with me that it has just been exhausting the last 4 years. So there's a lot of work that we need to do. I'd rather now shift away from the Trump presidency and ask ourselves, what is the Biden-Harris administration going to be doing? And how can the states now engage with an administration that seems more ready to roll out real, thoughtful national strategies? And I'm going to punt to Senator English first. Go ahead, Senator English.
Sure, my one word, away. You know, Hawaii is just, my grandparents would always, if you do something really bad, away. So away to this president. Mahalo, aloha, and aloha also. Poini hau, you know, and the old Hawaiians, aloha has a lot of meanings. Hello, goodbye, but it also has another meaning, depending how you say it. Aloha. It's like, too bad, what a waste. So aloha, away. That's to this president.
Okay, Representative
Okay, my
Ward.
turn.
It is your turn.
Okay, I would expect is what I just heard out of a blue state, a bluer than blue state. We're probably the bluest state of the nation. So well done, you two. It's as what was expected. We've broken the rules by time it says in a word describe the last 4 years. That's been difficult because I would say it's the blue collar billionaire goes to Washington, or it's a
That's
would
not
you
one
say,
word, Ward.
Blue collar, he
Um,
has some
a
really-
mega inator.
I'm more blue collar. Let me tell you, the people of Hawaii know what blue collar is, and that past president, soon to be past president, is not blue collar.
I think you forgot what his voting base was. It's mostly the blue collar that you Democrats initially had, and you're leaving because you now are limousine liberals. The most money, the most corporations are backing Democrats. Let's
So
come
what's
on,
your
get
word?
real.
What's your word?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
what's your
Look at
word?
the data.
Word.
Look at the
word.
data.
Look at the data. Okay, next.
That's 2
Okay.
words, 3.
Next, let's wrap this baby up.
All right, we're up to Rep. Ward. You get this last question. You get to kick this off. This is hopefully the easy one. Maybe it's a difficult one. What's your favorite place to eat within walking distance of the Capitol?
I want you to know this is not for Rep. Belatti's edification, but it should, because my favorite food is adobo, and I go to Vicky's Filipino fast food. And every time I'm at the Capitol, I eat that. And I think the pork adobo is probably the best west of the Mississippi, right there at Vicky's Filipino fast food.
Wow.
I'll go try it.
Okay. Write
I'll
that
take it.
down.
The
How
next
about you,
one,
Rep.
I'll take
Belatti?
I'm going to do 2. Lucky
Yep.
Belly at 50 North Hotel Street and Livestock Tavern right next door at 49 North Hotel Street. You know, we got some really great small businesses here in downtown Chinatown, and the fact that they've remained open has been very good for the people here at the Capitol. The over 500 folks who work here, you know, we're lucky to have these great small businesses. Senator
You eat
England?
lunch at a tavern?
Yeah,
You eat
so
lunch at a tavern?
I would say Kaimana Kitchen, which is Indian food. And you know why I like them? It's because, hey, it's reasonable, it's very good. And, you know, they have a branch on Maui. So I used to go to their Maui one, and when I saw them here, I went in. It's the same family, so you go in, they know you. The food is excellent. And, when you call in for takeout, it's there and ready when you get there. That's really important these days.
Nice.
I got to give a shout out to my second office. My second office is the Mandalay restaurant, the Chinese restaurant. Some of the best food in the world, other than the French, is Chinese in Mandalay, right on Alakia, which is just a jump over from our capital. They have great food. They have Linda, who works her heart out. But I'll tell you, COVID really shut them down. And I hope she's not one of those 20% who died because of what the government has done in taking control of the economy.
Excellent. And Rep Ward, what's your favorite dish there? Why don't you tell everybody?
You want me to say adobo again? Because what is the best thing? Oh, sorry. The favorite dish is the dim sum. Oh, I was shifting back to my favorite lunch wagon. Their dim sum is super, and their oyster sauce chicken with soft noodles. If anybody doesn't know that one, order it. It's off the menu. It's something I picked up in Kuala Lumpur while in Malaysia. Oyster sauce chicken with soft noodle is excellent. You can't get it any better than any place in Honolulu.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you very much for your time. I want to thank each of you for coming on today. And one thing for sure, it's going to be a session to remember. I think we can all say that. So thank you very much to all of you for helping out today.
Thank you, Della. Thank you, Kalani. Aloha.
All right. Take care.
Aloha.
What are you doing? We have to go. I'm gonna be late for work.
It's Tuesday morning. I gotta record live at the legislature on Alelo. Senate and House leadership discussing what's happening at the state capitol.
So just watch it on the news tonight. Come on, let's go.
Hey, this is like getting the news before it's news. If only I could get this remote to work.
There. Can we go now?
No DVR? No problem. Watch Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. on Channel 49.